welcome indeed to the man from Auntie. Thank you so much for that splendid welcome. I appreciate it. Appreciate it again. A strange week. Rumours, the strangest rumours we've heard for years. Rumours of Mrs Thatcher's possible resignation caused a sudden loss of confidence in the pound at the weekend. And when they turned out to be only rumours, confidence obviously dropped further, and we're all worried about our mortgages. Now, I've never understood this business about our savings and our mortgages being dependent on whether a bunch of 12-year-old farties in stripy shirts in the City of London feel confident or not. I mean, we're not allowed to play this confidence in the pound game, are we? Not in the real world, no. In the real world, the confidence in the pound game is not for us. I mean, imagine it. You're not allowed to go in a pub, are you? You're not allowed to go, look, John, I've got this quid here, and, quite frankly, I feel very good about it, actually. Yeah, lovely. I won't deny that earlier it did drop a bit, but since then it's rallied. This quid's rallied, and it's a good old quid, that. You haven't got a mark or a dollar in the till, have you? No? Oh, because it would have compared very favourably against it. So on the strength of this surge of confidence, I'll have a treble Glenfiddich and 50p change. No, we're not allowed to do that, are we? Strange, the world seems to have gone mad. Good things, bad things. Animal liberationists today, wonderful stuff. They liberated 153,000 edible snails. Blimey, sack the security guard. I mean, 153,000 snails are not exactly going to make a quick getaway, are they? I mean, they'd have to have bribed a guard to turn a blind eye for 3 or 4 days. A curious exercise was conducted this week on the BBC. How radio would respond to the death of a royal. Well, fair point. They should rehearse it. I mean, if Charlie went under a bus, you wouldn't want Gary Davis banging on I Should Be So Lucky, would you? The royals were graded. This is all true. The Queen is category A. She would get 2 hours of serious music with absolutely no phone calls from Mr. Mad. Now, the Queen Mum, Charlie and Phil the Greek are category B. They get half an hour of solemn music, so that's more royalties for Phil Collins. And so it goes on down the line. Fergie gets 2 verses of Ain't That a Shame, and Edward would get 3 minutes of the Birdies song. Last week, I was on about advert slogans, and there's an ad at the moment which really defies belief. It's a beautiful slogan. ICI, World Problems, World Solutions. ICI have just been given special government dispensation to continue dumping poisons in the North Sea. It is also the largest producer of CFCs in Western Europe. Perhaps a more honest slogan might be ICI, World Problem. And because it's shorter and, as a slogan uses, less paper and things, it can do its bit for the environment too. A blonde bombshell was playing hard to get this week, teasing us, hinted at being prepared to try it on top, but then going all coy. Michael Heseltine, Tory rebel, and favourite wet dream of the blue rinse set was back in the running. Interesting what it takes to be a Tory rebel these days. There was a time when it meant Churchill standing despised, castigating his own party over Hitler. Joseph Chamberlain splitting the ranks on free trade. These days, it's anyone who hasn't actually flopped their gonads on a silver platter and said, there you are, Mrs Thatch, do you want them fried or boiled? Why Heseltine? What does anyone know about this sexy favourite to take over the leadership, apart from the fact that he once wore a flak jacket at Greenham Common? Basically, he's the only Conservative not totally tainted by association with Mrs Thatcher, apart from David Owen, of course. I find it strange, actually, that literally days after David Owen begins his withdrawal from politics, suddenly Heseltine emerges into the limelight. The answer is simple. Both men trade heavily on military knowledge. Both men's principal asset is their firm-jawed good looks. They are the same person. Take Owen, tint those luxurious locks blonde, and you have Hessel Owen. Acceptable face of conservatism. Now, in pursuance with present policy of dimming the light at the end of the tunnel, electricity is soon to be flogged off. Yes, later this year, we will no doubt be subjected to a series of ads that will defy the imagination. After Don't Tell Sid, H2 Owner and BP, be part of it.
But remember, shares are like trousers. They can go down as well as up.
It's been strange watching the telly these last few years. Every time I turn on there seems to be an ad for something I already own. Gas, water, telecom.
First there was Busby, then It's For You Who, now all this bloody-ology business. You'd have thought with all the cables Telecom must be laying, they could have found one to hang Maureen Lipman with.
I'm thinking, I could have sworn that was mine already. They want me to buy it, but I confidently expect to see an ad for my sofa on the telly. The Benz Sofa Share Opportunity. I mean, it couldn't be any worse than the H2 Owner campaign. I mean, do you recall that ad? It concerned a couple sitting by a lake. They weren't a traditional advertising couple, all beautiful and cool and sexy. No. In fact, they were a couple of total and utter prats. A couple of pointless old greasers who still think Elvis is alive. Time travellers from a very dull party in 1972. Mind you, it was an inspiring advert. You remember, the bloke skimmed a stone across the water. And as he did so, Handel's water music rose out of the water. Stoom! Bum, 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 bum. Well, he was surprised. Well, you would be, wouldn't you? I'd be surprised if I could get a stone to skim 4 times. I mean, imagine how long it took to make the ad. The director's going, look, love, just skim the stone. The bloke's going, look, I'm an actor, love. I wasn't booked to skim stones. Anyway, as the music rose dramatically out of the water, we realised that we too could be H2 owners. Oh, how inspiring it all was. But that was only half the equation, ladies and gentlemen, because it was the water and sewage businesses that they sold. They kept a bit quiet about that, didn't they? You never saw the ad with the turds working their way through the pipe, did you? They should have had a second ad. The old greaser who was skimming stones, he's off to the loo. He's got a fag paper under his arm. He gets in there, he sits down, lights one up. Half an hour later, he manages to squeeze a couple out. Bum, bum, bum. What's going? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you bought our water, you are not only an H2 owner, but a shit shareholder. A P purchaser. Feel good about being part of one nation of shareholders. Every time you have a slash, you're adding to your investment. Feel proud that you've got a stake in every bum in Britain. And soon, it's going to start again, when they flog off the lecky. They've already softened us up with a campaign to show us how great electricity is. Yeah. Wanted to show us how great it was. And it was very inspiring. They had all these ads. They had a shot of a streak of lightning. A streak of lightning, 50 billion volts of power, naked power. And then they had a cut to a little baby in an incubator. Oh, and electricity is keeping the little baby alive. Oh, look! Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep. That's electricity that's kid. Thank God for the men in the white coats who work through the night with their clipboards, all dedicated to keeping little Bubba alive. The ad cuts to a jumbo jet hurtling through the air. It is dark. The plane wants to land. How will it land, we scream. It cannot see in the darkness. Oh, cut to the runway. Lights on the runway, thank God. For electricity, it means they will not crash. What is the advert trying to tell us? What do they want us to do? Are we supposed to say, that looks good. Think I'll turn on another light. There is no point advertising electricity. Either you need it, or you don't. It's not like Smarties. You don't just fancy a bit in the middle of the day, you'll sit there, I could just do with a bit of lecky, couldn't you? Come on, kids, we'll get in the kitchen. I'll turn on a couple of nice plugs. They spend millions advertising gas. Why? What are we supposed to do? Leave the grill on longer?
Darling, the fish fingers are burning.
I know, but look at this beautiful gas. Of course they don't. They're not advertising gas, electricity, especially electricity, no. Not advertising lecky anymore. We don't have an electricity board anymore. We have power businesses called Power Gen and National Power. Feel good about it. Power Gen sponsor the weather broadcasts on ITV now, because the weather wasn't making a profit. You see, that's no good, is it? I confidently expect to see snowflakes fall next winter with Adidas tattooed on everyone. Power sockets for power goods. You can now buy a turbo hoover. In our media world of new words, a turbo hoover, eh? A turbo hoover to plug into our power source. What's it supposed to do? Look at my new turbo hoover. Ah! Where's Grandad? I'm inside the hoover bag. I'm inside the hoover. One thing that they talk about privatising, flogging off, is British Rail. Oh, I hope they don't. For all its faults, we love it. Mind you, I think they should admit their faults. glory in their faults, rather than pretending that there's something they're not. To give them a hand, we present the Fartist Guide to Trains. So, you're walking down the corridor looking for a seat. You've got a stack of newspapers to spread out if you find one, but you'll never find one. Take a little look at these empty ones, because that's the last time you'll ever see an empty seat on a train. These seats are for the single businessman who drives on each train, a train to himself, because his company have paid the full fare. The rest of us farties are on the Super Save Away Day Blue Weekender Shovel 'em On and Bugger It ticket. That's us. The train is packed. And of course, your foursome is as full as any other. The poor, harassed mum with the kid on her knee. Here's a good tip. Why not beat the little kid to it, eh? Why not destroy the sandwiches and throw them at people yourself, okay? Put a little blood to it, okay? And incidentally, if you're another punter when that happens, do rehearse the British Rail body language. Do rehearse that. That doesn't matter. That translates as, can I kill your child? So, opposite, there's a nice old fella. He's a lovely bloke. He's on a golden year twilight break, which offers a half-price return ticket, but only if you're prepared to die while you're away. He turns to me and he smiles and he says, nice weather, don't you think? So you look him in the eye and you say, this is a 4-hour journey, and if you make one more noise, I'm going to kill you with this plastic fork. Well, you've got to be firm, believe me. It pays to be firm at the beginning. Stop any nonsense. Right, opposite you, there's a city type. He's an interesting type, but only live on trains. Because although he only looks 5'10", he is actually 9 feet tall. Because you see, his legs are telescopic. They start off just kind of nudging you against the next wall. Oh, they're nudging you again. Before you know it, they're up under your nose, kicking you in the chin, and as the journey goes on, they're actually bashing the bloke on the head behind you. So, now, you put on your personal stereo walk-person ear imploders. Now, it's terribly easy to recreate the effect of these, so do try, even if you haven't got one yourself. All you need to irritate everybody in the entire carriage is a comb and paper and a little tin of dried peas, okay? So you just pop that on and you're... Okay? Terribly easy. And it won't be long before 15 people are hating your guts and at the same time trying to work out what you're listening to. What's he listening to? What's he listening to? All right, the journey is getting a little dull, so you decide to have a coffee from the buffet. Now, the Max Pack sensation is terribly easy to create and well worth the effort. No need to struggle all the way up to the buffet. Just take, here's my little demonstration trolley here, just take a plastic cup and some mud or clay, okay? And you just put it in there and you add a little hot water like that, okay? Stir it up, and then this is terribly important. You take a single coffee bean, all right? You put it across the corridor, and then you kind of vaguely wave the cup in. All right. Speaking of coffee, the buffet's just opened, and there is a bloke staggering the whole length of the train trying to juggle 6 cups. Now, don't wait for him to get to you. Save time. Throw a cup of coffee in your face while you're waiting. Okay, do you see that? Terribly easy. All right. Excuse me, madam. Of course. Occupy what space you can. Breathe a deep and relaxing sigh and get lazy. But do not breathe too deeply, because if you make too sudden a movement... That door has a mind of its own. There are times when you only have to scratch your nose. Shift from one buttock to the other. But try and get through that door with a load of sandwiches and beer from the buffet, and the thing is shut tighter than Sir Alistair Burnett. Now, you stagger up the corridor to the toilet. Obviously, you have to move the student that's blocking away with his bike and his backpack and into the loo. Okay, once you're in, turn the lock, okay? You turn the lock and you know that a light has come on outside that tells the whole carriage that Ben is in the bog. Really? Finally, at the end of your nightmare journey, you're nearly there. You are a couple of 100 yards from the station, and the train stops. So near, but so far. The tension and frustration begin to mount. The old fellow is the first to die. The poor mum goes permanently out of her mind trying to amuse a 4-year-old little Hitler for hours on end. The city bloke explodes because he's missed his meeting. But me, I comfort myself with the thought that no matter how long it takes, is still quicker than the 200-mile contraflows we used to call motorways. Now that's Party on a Train.